to Mallet and Michelle on Dripping Springs, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve, the Capital 10. Is that what it's called? Cap 10.
Cap
Try number 1.
60 to 64-year-old.
Very specific.
Age group champion. It's like very narrowly defined. But hey, I'm still kicking ass at 60 years old.
I am very proud of you.
Thing.
I am very, very proud of you. You know, you saw I had that pool party this weekend and I jumped off the top of my pool into the pool and I almost lost my life. And the fact that you ran for, 17 hours.
No, it wasn't that long.
To do
hour
this.
And 15 minutes.
It would be 17 hours for me. But congratulations.
Well,
I'm very
thanks.
proud of you.
It was a good day. It's rare in the triathlon where you have a day where you feel good the whole way. You almost always have a point where you go, this is starting to suck. And I didn't have that. I felt great right to the finish line.
That's a cool accomplishment though, Steve. So I'm not going to put you out to pasture.
Well, not yet. Yeah. Give me a little bit more time.
Okay, I will.
That sort of brings me up to the Run by the Creek is on for the 12th year.
Oh my goodness.
Springs,
yeah.
5K and 10K. We've done it. This will be the 12th time and maybe the last time at the location we have, but you can sign up right now. We've got a 25% discount on the Run by the Creek and you can sign up at runbythecreek.com.
Or if anybody knows of any other locations that might fit this criteria, come forward.
True. I've reached out to Camp Lucy and they declined. And I reached out to a number of times to Field of Dreams because they have enough parking and it's in a place where we could do the race and never heard back from them. So anybody out there listening, you got a connection, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I also wanted to remind you that if you ever have to call in sick for this, Gracie, your daughter, has so lovingly offered.
I'm not too sure if I like the name you came up with, Minnie, Mallet, and Michelle.
She came up with that one. She said Minnie, Mallet, and Michelle.
Coming soon. I might be out of a job if you do that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're doing it while you're in Scotland. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take over.
Gotcha. Well, that reminds me, the show's been actually taking off and been way bigger than we ever expected. But we still, in this age of changing media, we still need your reviews and your comments on the show. So wherever you listen, and we're on every platform you can think of, please review the show, like the show, leave us a comment. All that stuff really helps us with those crazy algorithms.
Well, yeah, and we've gotten really good responses, and then we have like the one hater out there that gave us a 1 star. Oh. So I would love to have Mr. 1 Star. Please come on the show.
Yeah,
come on.
You know what? The 1 star came after I think our second episode.
Well, yeah, we were 1 star.
I think we were. Quite honestly, Michelle, we kind of suck.
We were a 1 star.
We were a 1 star. Whoever starts off,
we still suck. But you know what? Let's just keep going.
Whoever starts their athletic career as an Olympic athlete. I mean, everybody starts at the bottom and works their way.
If you think that we're one level above sucking, just give us a review, please.
Yeah. Hey, we're not a real estate show.
No, we're not.
I got a little real estate story. Do you remember my real estate predictions? That I did at the beginning of the year, talked about things that were going to be happening. Well, one of my predictions was that we were going to lose a ton of real estate agents as the market started to decline.
Yeah, well, because they need money.
Well, yeah, you got to make a living. So since October last year, the National Association of Realtors has lost 70,000 agents. And just in April alone, 30,000 agents gave up their license.
100,000?
No, 70 total.
But 70.
But 30 of it happened in the last month.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of people.
So now they're back to being your Uber driver, your barista,
Uber driver and your lifeguard.
And your lifeguard. Okay, hire
a professional,
your
folks.
Like real estate / part-time podcaster.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Done.
Hire a professional. No.
Oh, well, you just like nodded at me like I knew what the heck I was going to talk about.
I can still go. I got stuff I want to talk about.
Okay, so who are we going to have on the show? We're going to have Nick and Christina Caster of Caster Studios. They own a studio right by Sportsplex behind HEB, which is kind of a surprising little location.
It's kind of wild to even have a business here at Dripping Springs called Studio, if you think about it. I mean, 10 years ago, it was like Nick's Cattle and Goats, now we've got studios here.
We're still like cattle's, goats, and studios. Yeah. So have you ever heard of the Texas Film Commission here in Texas?
No.
Okay, so it's the office of Texas, of the governor, that handles all of the film production and whatnot here in Texas. Well, there's a new support right now, a new campaign out right now called Good for Texas. It's in support of the Texas film and television industry, and it's spearheaded by All right. Mr. Matthew McConaughey, Owen Wilson, Dennis Quaid, Woody Harrelson. They're either all Texans or they live in Texas. And it's in support of several bills currently making their way into the Texas legislature. But as a matter of fact, I need to figure out, because right before we went on, I was going to check right before Texas legislature just ended last week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So it was either passed or not, but it provides tax cuts to film and television production. These incentives used to be in place a long time ago, but they were cut. And so that
was like 10 years ago, right? Because
yeah.
we had some friends that were in the movie industry, and when that went away, they all lost their jobs. I guess a lot of it moved to Georgia.
Well, so it went to Georgia, Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Come on, Texas. We could do better than
but
that.
Millions of dollars can be spent within the local community. Just like Stephenville up the street, kind of a little bit of the street. They just filmed the other Yellowstone spinoff. I think it's called Bass Reeves is what it's called.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Texas legislation session ended May 29th. We should know by the time of this podcast. It said, Michelle, look it up. I didn't. I'll have to look it up. Billions of revenue could be pushed into the Texas economy. So here was the other thing that I found really interesting before the passage of this. In San Marcos, a brand new studio is opening. It's a $267 million project called Hill Country Studios. Construction began early this year. It boasts about 820,000 square feet of studio space, 2 virtual production stages, 12 sound stages. It'll provide more than 1,400 industry jobs, just the studio itself, not necessarily like with the projects that it does. And it will push those into the surrounding counties, Hays, because it's in San Marcos. It's the largest studio of its kind in Texas. I know that they're building another one up kind of near Dallas, McKinney area up there. But it also has 2 back lots with 15 acres of production space. I was wondering, do you know that in San Marcos they have that dead farm, the death farm?
What?
I don't know what the real name of it is, but it's like a farm with a bunch of dead bodies that lay in it, and then they
I saw it on Dirty Jobs.
Yeah, they watch the decomposition.
So if you're getting your degree in criminal whatever that is,
yeah. So they check to see. So I'm wondering if it butts up to.
It might.
I don't know. But
we're gonna film Day of the Living Dead.
That's right. But it's exciting times. Little Hollywood here. I mean, hopefully they don't bring all of Hollywood.
Well,
but
speaking of the Texas legislature, the legislature just passed the Texas electrical vehicle tax.
Oh,
did you hear about that?
No, I didn't, because
It's been kind of funny that all of our governments have been pushing for more electric cars. Well, now the federal government has made it harder to get those subsidies, the tax credits. Now it used to be, I think $12,000 and then $10,000, and now it's $7,500, but it's only on certain cars, and they have to be SUVs or not SUVs. I can't even remember.
Just let me drive the car I want to drive.
But now, if you buy an electric car, because you don't pay, if you have an electric car, you don't pay the gas tax. Now, every year when you register your little Tesla, you're going to pay an additional $400 on top of your regular registration fees.
You know what else I heard?
Sorry, it's $200 a year to renew, but $400 when you buy the car.
You know what else? Just like side note, I just heard that they're no longer requiring, not registration, inspections of your car.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't hear that.
That
You
is
better-
done.
You better.
It is.
confirm
It's
that.
confirmed. It is. That is. But the fee to get your car inspected,
Disclaimer.
is added onto your registration now. They don't require you to get inspected, but you're still going to pay the fee because it's going
I
to be.
think that's a mistake. And when you don't have somebody that looks at least the basic safety features on the cars, you're going to have people driving around with tires that are bald and things that don't work, one headlight. But, so part of this electric vehicle tax that they passed, there's 200,000 electric cars in Texas already, and 30,000 of those got added in the last year. And doesn't apply to motorcycles, electric motorcycles, which is becoming a thing. So, they were saying that the average person pays about $130 a year in gas tax, you and me. So it's actually going to cost you more than what you'd pay in gas tax to have an electric car. So they've mandated, like California, by 2035, you will not be able to buy a gas powered car in California. They will all be electric.
Have they just outlawed common sense, just like in general?
Yeah, I think that they are meddling in things that they don't need to mess with. Like it shouldn't concern the federal government what kind of cars we drive, and they should not be mandating to manufacturers what we buy. We should be able to, it's a free country. I should be able to go out and buy a great big old diesel pickup truck if I want. And yeah, they can make them cleaner and more sensitive to the environment. But if I don't want a damn electric car, you shouldn't be able to force me to buy an electric car.
You know, Steve, if we've learned anything in the last 3 years, they're gonna try to meddle.
It's getting more and more invasive. I mean, some of the stuff that's been passed in the last 5 years would have never passed 50 years ago. People would have thought, no, there's no way. But, well,
oh, by the way, I did look it up while you were going on your meddling rant, and it is true. Texas bill eliminating
the disclaimer. It's
vehicle
true.
inspections heads to governor's office to be signed. But this was May 23rd.
I wonder
but
if he'll sign it.
Well, this was, I would think it would be. So, but it creates a new $7.50 inspection replacement fee.
So you don't get the inspection, but you still pay $7.50.
You know what's funny is because my son has been in the military outside of Texas for going on 8 years now. His car, his Texas is his home state of record, and all of his cars are still registered in Texas. Mm-hmm. One of them was in Puerto Rico. One of them never saw the light of day here in Texas. And we pay, obviously, he pays the registration, but we never had him inspected. And they said, oh, by the time, 72 hours, it's legal. You're allowed to do it. You have 72 hours by the time it comes into the state. You need to get it inspected, blah, blah, blah. Well, right now he bought his 4Runner here in Texas, and it lives in San Francisco, and it has Texas license.
Really?
Yeah. And I guess
I'm sure that's a great conversation starter, and for some people in San Francisco, and some other people, they probably look at them and go and flip off the license plate. Damn
whatever.
Texans.
Yeah, you know what?
Stealing
Actually,
our
there's one guy that lets him park in front of his driveway that he doesn't park, and because he has his Texas plates. So
that's nice.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, have you felt like we've been getting a little more rain than we've gotten in the last couple of years?
Yes, I love it. My yard is glowing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, our yards look great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. We're supposed to get an El Nino starting in July this year.
That's more rain, right?
Yes. There's so somebody was telling me that they thought El Nino was going away, but that's wrong. Actually, El Nino comes in and warms up the water in the eastern equatorial Pacific, and that creates some kind of condition here where we actually get a little bit cooler and generate more rain.
But we also get, I think that's when the hurricanes can get really bad, right? Because of the water in the Gulf.
It might be, yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, as long as we get more rain, I don't really care.
We need it.
Yeah, we don't want to see anybody on the coast get damaged. But
it's going to be cooler and more rain.
It's going to be cooler and more rain here, but it will be warmer in the Pacific Northwest, and then wetter in the south, southwest, and coastal southeast. Oh,
poor Tate and his perfect 67-degree weather all the time.
Yeah, that's right. I was looking at the Lake Travis. We went camping there, and our campsite was right on the edge of the lake, and we couldn't get to the water because it was 50 feet below us.
Now's the time to buy some lakefront property.
But Lake Travis is currently at 638 feet. which is in May of 2020, it was at 674 feet. And I don't even remember it feeling like it was that full back then.
Yeah.
But it's very low. That's 36 feet lower than what it was back then. And in May of 2019, it was 685 feet.
I feel like I have spent the better part of my adult life in Austin knowing what the lake levels are for some reason or the other, and I don't even live by the lake.
You know, since Gracie moved back from Michigan and you know, she talked about how great the lakes are there, it is a big part of our life. We may only go a couple times a year, but it's nice. Like, you really can't go to Lake Travis right now.
No.
I mean, if you know, there's the places where you can boat and kayak and fish. They're much less than they used to be.
Well, you just swam yesterday, and I know that you were worried last week about the cooties that are in the water.
Town Lake. Yeah, it was gross. There was actually, as you walk out on this little dock to jump into the water, you got to jump in feet first. And as we walked down, I was standing next to my buddy Don, and we walked on the ramp. I go, man, do you smell that? It just stunk.
Well,
it reeks.
The serial killer. That's why.
Yeah, that's right. It's the bodies decomposing in the lake. But about 500 yards into the swim, that we came across an area of I guess it's duckweed, where the some kind of seaweed looking thing was about a foot below the water. So every time you swam, every time your hand went in the water,
it's touching it.
It's touching it.
Nope.
But you know what? It didn't bother me at all. But I could imagine some people that are not regular swimmers in lakes like that. They were freaking. I actually saw a guy that looked like he was in a little bit of trouble swimming on his back, kind of.
That would be me. I'd be dog paddling. When we were in Key West last week, I'm not a lake for ocean person. I don't like things touching me under. I don't
like that part, but I love being out.
It just scares me. I'm terrified. But of course I grew up in Corpus, you know, so that water's just like poop brown water, you know, and it just terrifies me. It terrifies me. But ugh.
Yeah. So far so good. I haven't died in the last 24 hours from some kind of poisoning from the algae, but
I'll pay attention. I mean, you know, just know that if you do, I already have your replacement.
Oh, good.
You're welcome.
He's going to love working with you.
No, it's your daughter.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes. Okay. Well, hey, let's take a little break and get Nick and Christina Caster in here. I think they're going to be very interesting. She's an actress.
I know. They do the Gus Plus Us preschool program, and it is adorable. It actually sucked me in. I've watched several episodes.
Have you?
I do. I love it.
I didn't even know. Oh, it must have launched last year.
Yeah.
Did it launch last year?
I love it. It's super cute.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to hear about that and what they're doing at Caster Studios here in Dripping Springs. So let's take a little break and get them in here.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Mallet Integrity Team of real estate professionals. They are based in Dripping Springs and bring you over 45 years of combined experience helping people reach their hill country real estate dreams. When you want the best in town, call them at 512-829-2062 or look them up at malletintegrityteam.com. And now, here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome back, Nick and Christina Caster of Caster Studios. I'm so excited to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
awesome.
having us.
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Steve's been very nervous about having you guys here. I'm going to be real honest with you.
You guys are like pros. I mean, Christina, you're an actress, and this has been your whole professional life, Nick.
Hey, I've been acting for 8 years with you. So
she acts like she loves
There
it.
you go.
That's how it is. Everyone's just kind of figuring it out. We all
Every
fake
day,
it.
day
It's all
in,
fake
day
it.
out.
I make this up as I go. That's what I used to tell my children. I was like, look, I've never raised one of you people before. I make this up as I go along.
Right.
That's what we do.
Yeah, acting like I know how to act, you know.
Yeah. How did you guys end up in Dripping Springs of all places?
Oh, man. It's been about, 9 years ago. We grew up in San Diego.
Okay.
California.
Yeah, born and raised there. And then about 10 years ago, I have family here. So I grew up going to Cedar Park in the 80s and 90s. I'm an 80s kid, so I grew up traveling out here, visiting family, kind of seeing Austin as it is on the outskirts of Cedar Park, which was nothing.
It's much better that way.
Oh my gosh. There's nothing out there. There's no freeways or anything. And then I think the 90s, they started getting like more freeways and stuff, and then stopped coming out here. Cause I was like, I can't stand Texas. There's no way I can live there. As a kid, I kept going, there's nothing out there. So we got married we met in through my brother in a band. And as we were having kids, California was kind of changing on our ass, like the way we like to work or live. We lived in the outskirts of San Diego, so we lived on like ranch land and all that stuff. We were the weirdos there. And I started working in the film industry, started a company, Caster Studios, out of my dad's garage. Oh, so wow. My desk was next to their like washer and dryer. And
the spin cycle.
Yes. It was great.
Sound effects.
Trying to make it look cool, but there's a washer and dryer next to me. And then, we met through my brother in a band.
Yes.
And I started,
we started doing like leading worship because his dad would go and speak like on marriage and family. And so we would go and lead worship for that. And ended up getting married and then having kids. And as our kids were growing up, California was not sustainable, but it was also changing rapidly. Right. And so this was 7 years ago. We decided we're just going to move it. We're going to move to Texas and see what happens. And we found Dripping Springs. He came out without me because I had a 7-month-old. And he came out and he looked at like Lakeway, Steiner Ranch, and Dripping Springs. And he found this neighborhood in Deer Creek, and there was a pond. And he like took a picture, and I was like, "That's it. That's where we need to move." Like I'm gonna walk the kids down to the park. We're gonna go feed the ducks in the pond, and like that sold me. I was like, wow. Just all those trees, the little hill to the pond. I was like, this is perfect. Like we love the country vibe, the cows. The ranches, like we were like, this just feels like home. It's so.
I moved here from California 20 years ago, and your story is almost exactly the same as my story. It was like, I had little kids, and I was like, I don't really want to raise them here in California. I was in San Diego, North San Diego County. I was like, and then I came out here and I went to Cedar Park, stayed there, and I was like, I don't really like it here. But I drove down to Dripping, and I was like, holy cow, what a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's hard to get it out of your system when you come from a place like San Diego when you come here. So
I'm special right now because I'm the unicorn.
Yeah, you are
the generational Texan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
we're all jealous of you.
Yeah.
Bow down.
So what year was it you actually moved here then? Was it like 7 years ago? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So I think it was 2015. Mm-hmm. No, 2016 because my son was 7 months. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then when did you start building the studio?
So we 3 years ago. So we found the land right here in town, right here in the city. I was driving by and I saw a sign, and the guy was actually pulling it down. And I go,
was that Ronnie?
Yes,
it was. Yeah,
I go, hey,
Ronnie Klein. He worked on my team like 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh! Well, I go, what, is this for sale? He goes, I just pulled it offline because no one's biting. And I go, what? I want it. He goes, well, let's work it out, Yeah. And I think he called me months after we bought it and goes, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
It was like clockwork. I mean, after we bought it, everything just went
skyrocket. So did you already have a plan for what you wanted to build there? Did you have like a concept?
First we needed the land, and then I drew it up.
Okay.
So we photoshopped the whole idea, and that's when I got to design and build the building ourselves. So it was a really fun experience.
How long did it take you to work with the city to get it approved?
Oh my goodness. It was a little bit of process. Yeah. I feel like everyone was learning at the same time.
Oh, I think you're right. And you probably got in before it's actually, I think, a little harder now to work with the city.
We were just talking earlier when we spoke before you guys came on, and I was talking about the Texas Film Commission and how there's that whole push to kind of bring film back to Texas. And then I also mentioned that huge studio that's going in down in San Marcos, which is really interesting.
You know about that.
Yeah.
But Texas was kind of a little powerhouse about 10 years or so ago.
Yep.
I don't know if you recognize me, but my bathroom was in a Google or a Febreze commercial.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to
That's awesome.
You're welcome. Wow. I'll sign autographs.
Nick, it's not that impressive, Nick. Come on. You don't have to do
Location is everything.
We need to see the
my
commercial
SAG
first.
membership harps on my Febreze bathroom commercial. But I really hope. We're the landscape here just lends itself to kind of have every type of show that you want to have.
Yeah.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you is, with your studio space, because you're in Dripping Springs now, Do you kind of take advantage of the Dripping Springs landscape and kind of go outside of within the walls of the studio?
Yeah, like we shot a couple music videos. We did George Strait. It was more of a ranch feel, so we actually shot it at the Dripping Springs Ranch Park.
Really?
Yeah.
He's still alive, Steve, by the way, Steve.
Yeah. That's a running joke on the podcast. Every time she brings it up, is he still alive?
Yeah.
So did you get to meet George Strait?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I got to produce that one. And
That's cool.
we did, so that was kind of cool to come here. We used the Henley Church down there, the little white one. So that was a location, and then we filmed. So it was like very old school feel. And we were able to shoot without seeing all the modern homes.
Who came up with that, like the concept of that? Like
The director. Yeah.
Okay, so but did you say I
have
know
to
where there's a
location
church
scout it?
Yeah, so he would kind of send me like, here's what I need to do. George is coming through on tour. We're gonna take it to you, so you got to produce it. So we got to find like locations that look like this, and we want to shoot all this in 2 days. So I had to drive around. It was actually awesome because I got to meet so many locals trying to find certain locations, and we were very new here in Drip when it happened. So I was at Mazama just going, hey, hi, do you have a roping arena? Do you have a team rope? Do you know who has one? And then I remember the Cunninghams were so nice. They brought us all in, like, we got a little arena you can use.
Oh,
and
Dr.
like,
Cunningham?
Yeah, so we went over. It was awesome. It was a blessing. They all like came together and helped make it happen. And then it was neat.
There was a scene like the roping scene, and so locals could come as extras, and they're just all standing around. And what's his name?
Oh, Scotty. Yeah, we casted Scott Eastwood.
Scott
Clint
Eastwood was
Eastwood's
in
son
it.
was the actor.
No way.
So he was like roping and like doing like real roping stuff, and like all these locals are hanging out, and it was just everyone's a part of it. It was neat.
Yeah,
I just told you that 2 weeks ago that his son lived here.
That's the
Scott
Clint
Eastwood.
Eastwood's. Oh God, I can't even remember anymore. It's too much stuff going on.
Me and Michelle.
Michelle. All right. So Christina, you grew up. You're an actress.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Yeah. Well, it runs in the family.
Yeah.
My mom's a piano teacher, and my parents met singing in college, and so I just grew up around music and theater. So I was in musical theater, and then just singing any chance I got. I remember someone saying, just anytime someone asks you to sing, you should do it. And so that's what I would do. Like I sang at like a beauty pageant, just the most random things all growing up, and then doing theater every now and then. But I really wanted to be a mom. That was really my dream. And so now getting to create a show with my husband, and like, it's a very family oriented project. It's just like the biggest blessing because I'm getting to perform and use my gifts, but still be a mom and homeschool my kids.
Yeah.
And work with my husband.
This is Gus Plus Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gus
And
Plus Us.
have you already released that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Season 1's out.
I've watched it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like,
Well,
don't
here,
you know,
we're
like, here's my little, wait. It's so cute. I love it. I love it. This is what
Is
I'm
that
gonna,
you singing, Christina?
Yeah.
This
You got
is
a
what I'm going to
beautiful
be
voice.
doing during the day when, like, I have one earphone in. You're like, what are you doing? Watching Gus Plus Us.
Yeah.
No, it's been great. It's been our big thing was like before we had kids, we already knew we were going to homeschool, so that was a big deal.
And now I
in
guess like
California.
the Texas just community, Dripping Springs community lends itself to allowing you to homeschool.
Oh
also.
yeah. The state of Texas is really wonderful about homeschooling. Just so much freedom. And then Dripping Springs has a huge homeschooling community.
Oh, yeah.
which is wonderful.
You can
It's
get
getting
plugged in.
huge.
Yeah.
And I think also now, this was happening, I think, when my kids were in school, when they were like middle school or so, but they passed something, and I don't know exactly what it is, but just come off the top of my head, that the kids that are homeschooled, they can participate in school sports into
Right.
like the high school sports. So, people, that's kind of the argument people always say, what about the socialization and this, that, if you have a kid that wants to play soccer or whatever else, you can still participate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
all
You
that.
can do that. And then there's also private, and then there's clubs. There's so many options. Like,
How are you balancing all of that, the homeschooling, the homesteading, the Gus Plus Us, the studio, being a wife? I mean, it's just like, how are you, where are you finding time for you?
yeah.
Just you.
I mean,
She doesn't.
I know. I try to just rest. yeah.
Nature of being a
It's
young
a struggle, just like for everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if it's just like 10 minutes of reading before bed, it helps to feed my mind with podcasts while I'm driving, if I'm doing an errand or something. It's just kind of like finding those moments, and then also realizing that being with my kids is the gift. Like I am growing as I'm teaching them or spending my days with them, so it's like I get reminding myself that I get to do this, like what a gift it is.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have thought about it when I was your age and my kids were little, that like when they'd come, because I would work from home sometimes, they'd come in, hey, Dad, you want to throw a ball for a minute? And I was in the middle of negotiating a deal or something. Like, no, I don't have time. And I wish I'd have just, because it'd be 5 minutes, right? 5 or 10 minutes.
I know.
It's gone. You don't get it back. And it's important to just have that mindset of, I can take a break and do this, whatever it is, color for a few minutes.
Yeah. I remember when you were saying that, I remember going to a lot of Bible studies when my kids were younger, and I had one every Monday morning that I would go to. It was called Christian Moms. And these moms would talk about, I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. It's my time, my space to be with the Bible and just, away from the children. And, me being me, I was like, look, I'm not getting up at 5:30 in the morning. If I'm in my water closet, if I'm in the toilet with the door closed with little fingers underneath, and that's my time and my one with God, if I'm the best toilet Bible reader on the face of the planet, He knows where I am. He loves me exactly where I am. And I'm not going to feel guilty about not waking up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I remember that, where you just feel like, okay, I'm going to take little bits and pieces of time for myself. And you may still have little hands underneath the door. What are you doing?
And while it won't be perfect, you're going to do the best you can. So.
Oh yeah. And homeschooling's been awesome because we bring our kids kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
So they adapted.
Are they studio rats?
Yeah.
Too?
Oh yeah. They're there right now.
I bet they're running
we
the
left
show.
them with the team. We're like,
You'll be
okay, we're
fine.
going to go do this.
That's great.
Yeah, they're very comfortable around the team, and sometimes they'll offer opinions, or like if we're having a creative meeting, they'll be like, I'm thinking Gus should do this. And we're like, you're listening.
That's
like,
great.
it seems
that's
like they're
great input, isn't it?
so they are comfortable around adults and talking and sharing their opinions, which has been really just amazing to witness.
Mm-hmm. You're really feeding their minds though too about what, we were talking earlier about how we just kind of really make it up as we go along, but looking to see Mom and Dad actually have real jobs, but they feel a part of it.
Yeah.
They feel invested in what you guys are doing.
So how did you come up with the idea for Gus Plus Us, and give us, the
lowdown
elevator speech on what it is.
Well, it really started, you should tell them about that Christmas morning.
Oh yeah. We're, Blue wasn't born yet.
No, this
Our
is before.
oldest
So
wasn't born
over
yet.
10 years ago. She's
By the way,
almost
your
11.
children have the coolest names.
Oh,
they're so cool.
Blue and Cruise, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, we, as a filmmaker, I was working in LA a lot back and forth. And then I had this character I would do around the house for fun when I was home, just to bug Christina and make her laugh. And the character was Gus.
Okay.
So I would goof off and do the voice, and I'd be like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? Why are you doing that? And I would just bug her every day.
It was a character.
And act curious. And there's times where she was really frustrated about it. But so I started doing that. My mom one year was like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, I think I want a big blue puppet. I found this guy that makes custom ones, and I want him to make one because I think the voice matches the puppet. And she's like, all right. She was like,
weirdo. Okay, weirdo.
Okay, weirdo. You're 30 years old. You're asking for a puppet.
Yeah, and this is a big puppet.
But then you're married.
Because I had this idea. I was like, I'm shooting shows up in LA with people. I'm like, I can make my own show, like do a little YouTube thing with the puppet and like that character. And so I just started doing that. And then she auditioned, got into some show that was touring the world.
Yeah, a different kids show.
Yeah, went to Nick Jr. a little bit. And so she was busy doing that while I'm at home with puppets going, this can be funny. And this can be funny.
You're like, what does your husband do for it? We don't talk.
You don't want to know.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I evolved. And then I kept telling her, I was like, you know what? Gus needs a sidekick. So I created Karrot and had the guy make me Karrot. And then we started talking more, and I kept telling her, she was in her kid short touring. And I was like, when your show's done, you should be in this show. Like, we should make it an actual, season.
Yeah.
And write episodes and stuff. And she was like,
Yeah, I did not see the vision. He did though. He was like, I'm doing this show. And he said that for many years, like so persistent.
Oh, it was years.
It was kind of just him for a long time. And then
Little like Charlie on Always Sunny. Like, I'm done it.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it.
He was gonna do it.
We got busy. Like, the company kept getting busy. We were doing other stuff. But I was like, one day we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And I think it was 8 years it took from the time we were talking about it to actually doing it.
Yeah.
It was an 8-year just molding it, talking about it all the time. And
Yeah, we did shoot a pilot with 3 episodes, probably 5 years ago or 6 years ago. But it was very different.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did little things, but it wasn't until 3 years ago, where we really, his brother, it was during COVID, his brother moved here from LA.
He's an actor. Yeah.
And so once he did that, we had our team. It was him. So Nick, my husband, my brother-in-law, and me, and we just dove in and we're like, we're filming this in a year or whatever.
Yeah, our crew wasn't working because of the whole shutdown.
Right.
So I was like, I think it's time to do it.
It was just time.
Let's just do it.
It's
Let's put people to
beautiful,
work.
wholesome content.
Oh,
It's
there you
really,
go.
really, yeah. Is your brother still involved?
Oh, yeah.
Is he
yeah.
Karrot?
Is he Karrot?
No. I'm Karrot and Gus's voice, and then our friend Mason puppeteers for Parrot.
Yeah.
Parrot.
Parrot, whatever that big orange animal is.
It is very wholesome. It reminds me a little bit of like Veggie Tales, even though I know that was all animated. But it's just good stuff that you can put your kids in front of and walk away and not feel like there's something maybe subversive there.
Isn't that really hard to find nowadays? I guess we didn't have to think about this when we were kids, but I guess people get on YouTube and their kids watch YouTube videos, and then something else like Beelzebub pops up in the middle of it.
You have to screen literally everything. And so that's why people, it's been exciting to get the responses from moms like on our Instagram, just like, because they can get to know us through our page, and they know we're a family and they know our beliefs, and they're like, thank you. Like, this is light. This is good. So it's not, the big corporations just have with an agenda pumping things out. It's everywhere. It's becoming harder and harder.
And your big thing too was the way it was written. That was really important to Christina. Was like, it has to be, we can't talk down to the kids. It's got to respect the mind of a child. So you were the big voice on that, of making sure we were writing it in a way that represented that. And
we cared a lot about how we spoke to the kids through our characters, how they interacted, with good language and quality music. Music is a huge part of our show.
The music's good.
But you're also not bringing adult content into a children. Like Sesame Street nowadays is not Sesame Street. It's like Sesame Alleyway or something. It's not what it was when we were growing up.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you about. So those kind of shows traditionally would have been created and then sold or whatever to a network, right? And it would have been on TV. That would have been like the big end goal. But that's kind of all changed, right?
Yeah.
So when you guys came up with the idea and you wanted to launch it, what does a launch look like now for a TV show like this versus, 20 years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah, right now it's platforms. I mean, there's so many platforms out there now that are popping up everywhere. And our whole thing was like, how do we get this out? So we teamed up with Kadoodle. They did an exclusive release for 4 months. So we packaged the whole thing, and then they posted about it, and then we started marketing on our end.
Is Kadoodle sort of a YouTube kind of thing?
Yeah, they're all all the platforms are basically their own YouTube. So they'll run ads, and that's how you bring revenue in and stuff like that. Okay. So most of the platforms are all based on that concept. So we knew we had to pull that together, and that's when we met Dallas Morgan, who now works with us.
I saw him on your bio,
Yeah, awesome producer. So he came in and produced it because I was like, I'm not producing my own family thing. We're going to kill each other if I do that.
So it's funny because we use these words, like sound studio and production. What is the production is sort of like the person that directs what everybody does?
Yeah, so the producer pulls in everybody like crew and the schedule. So he's in charge of scheduling, the money, how it's being delegated and all that stuff. And then just like the scripts, he breaks down the scripts of all that and then pulls the crew together.
Okay.
So he's kind of coordinating the whole thing like a general contractor.
Oh, okay.
That's what he is. I connect everything to construction because I grew up in the construction world. So
you know what you want the end product to be, and you hire him to get you from start to finish.
So the creators build the plan. Here's my idea. Here's the vision. Here's where we're going. And then the producer kind of pulls it all like, okay, we need this sound guy. We need this DP, which is the director of photography. So we need like this director maybe will fit well with it and get your vision done and stuff like that. So,
I lost my train of thought there for a second.
That's shocking.
Well, yeah, I know. So development and production and then distribution, that was on your website. So the distribution part, is that what you were just talking about, getting it on these
Onto
platforms?
the platforms?
Right.
Now, aren't those just, you can upload it there and you don't, or
it's relationship based.
Okay.
So they don't let everyone on. Most of them, there's like Yippee, there's Cadoodle, there's some like Happy Kids. So some of them are also territories. So some are in like Asia. They have like territories in Europe. So we'll do license deals where it's like, okay, you're going to have the show there, but it only can be in Asia.
Okay.
Because we already have rights over in the U.S. with
that's
them.
got to be a whole job in itself.
Yeah. So Dallas is always working on that.
Yeah.
Do you face any kind of challenges because your studio is based here in Dripping Springs and people are like, you're not like the big sexy Austin, you're Dripping Springs? Or do you think it lends itself to kind of being more, what's the word?
Is it sexier now to be from Central
Maybe it
Texas
is. Yeah,
than-
maybe it is.
Yeah, I don't
We
know.
think so.
We think so. So we don't, like, we selfishly moved here just to live here rather than work here. And then we're like, work will follow from the connections we've made from LA
And
and,
it has.
Nashville. Yeah. And it's all of a sudden people are popping up and I'm going, whoa,
I was telling you earlier before we started recording about, I just drove by your studios one day. I was taking a shortcut through the back way, and I saw one of my favorite YouTube stars walk out, and I had to do a double take, and I actually looked a little stalker because I actually turned around in that church and I just made sure that it was him, and I came back around and I was like, that's pretty cool to me. For that's a little local sighting.
Yeah. Is the business, we hear about Hollywood, is it still who you know business?
Oh yeah, very much.
yeah.
It's who you know and what can I get out of you. So the selfishness is what
yucky.
drew me away.
Oh, yeah.
So we worked we worked with a lot of Disney kids back in the day, and that feeling of like, well, what can you do for me more than how can we help each other? That's what pulled me away from it. I was like, I don't want to build
Even those at that age.
Oh, yeah,
those kids,
100%.
they're just being exploited. So, well, one of the questions that I had for you guys was about the cultural pressure of just the big machine of Hollywood, right? Kind of what you do. You're married into this Hollywood kind of culture, but how do you stay true to your integrity and your values and your beliefs, and how, because you guys are not the cultural norm of Hollywood. I mean, you're not
swimming
only
upstream a little bit.
Yeah, you're married, you have beautiful children, you're homeschooling. How are you guys staying grounded in that sense?
Ooh.
We learned to say no
Louis.
a lot. Saying no is okay. So
And
a
not
lot of
following the dollar, right?
Yeah, not following the dollar and who it is. A lot of people are like, oh, you're going to go meet this person. I'm like, are they cool? It doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of does. Because like selfishly, I don't want to work with someone.
Yourself,
So it's learning that process, I think, more than chasing the idea of what film is, and rather than what you're affecting. So I'm like, we kind of change our minds on how we're looking at it. It is a different perspective, because I've been in rooms with a lot of A-listers or big people, and it's like, I don't know if I want to go down this route because of X. Like, yeah, but you're working with that person.
But you Steve and I like to say we like to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because ultimately you're responsible for you're head of your household, right? You're a man of God, you're a husband. And so it's like you're responsible for you.
Yeah,
not everybody
there's some
else.
things you might do in those worlds where you're almost like selling your soul
Yeah.
to get a buck, and you can't. And the reality is, a lot of times when you don't go down that road, other doors open up that are even better, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a big thing in the film industry is like, oh, he's successful, he's made it. And it's like, yeah, he's famous, but they have him on a chain where he has to do so much work. Like, there's no sleep, there's no concept of that.
Yeah.
But as soon as he stops that schedule, he's not making anything anymore.
And
because
his
that's what they want.
creativity is squashed, right?
Squashed.
There's no creativity anymore, which is, I can see from the two of you, you're very creative, and you can do that as much as you want with what you have, right?
Yeah. So it's like setting that tone up. Like, it's a different vibe. Even the film shoots we do, we always tell people, hey, it's a family vibe. It's not going to be your like hustle and bustle commercial shoot.
I was going to ask you that. Like, have you surrounded yourself with a good support system within the industry? Like, the the camera people, the lighting people. It's like, when you make that statement right there, look, it's not party until 4 o'clock in the morning. We have call time.
Have you
at 7
had some people that wanted to rent your studio that you went, no, we don't shoot that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Really?
We've had that. Yeah. We put it in the little thing too, like no X, and so people will be like, oh, well, it's going to be kind of like this. And we're like, well, that kind of falls into this item. So we don't do that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Staying true, man.
It's rare to see people that have standards in their business these days. Everybody's just like, well, that'll get me $1, and that's, you gotta uphold this.
Well, you're maintaining your artistic integrity, like we were saying, but you're not bowing down to the social pressures of the world that we've kind of have fallen into that, it's not a real estate podcast, but being in real estate, there have been people that we've come across in our world. It's like, I just don't know if we want to work with these people.
Yeah, I fired
a
client about 2 weeks ago because no, I don't want to be associated with that. But what is a typical? You guys have so much going on. What's a typical day look like for you in regard to Caster Studios? I know Christina with mom.
Right.
That's like who knows what you're going to get today.
Exactly.
But you're talking about negotiating these contracts and then shooting and filming and I'm like, what's your typical day look like?
So like right now we're shooting season 2. We've been in development mode, which is like we're developing 2 other shows right now. We're developing a film, a full narrative, and then we're developing a sitcom right now.
Is this all Gus Plus Us or these?
No, this is
it's
separate
outside.
things through Caster Studios.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Gus Plus Us, we're developing season 2. So right now we have a team focusing on what does this look like? This movie. So we got book rights on a movie and we're trying to turn that into a full series. And then we have a comedy sitcom right now that JP Sears, who you saw at the studio.
Yeah. See, I wasn't going to say his name. I was fangirling a little bit.
Yeah, it was JP Sears. Yeah, that we're all kind of like collabing on of like, what can this sitcom be? It'll be really funny, and we can shoot it here in Austin. And that one's more on food trucks. It's a community and a food truck lot.
Cool.
So like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine type thing, but it's all food truck owners. So we're developing that. That's a constant like creative thing of like, what can it be about? Where can it go in the first season and all that stuff? And then with Gus, where we developed season 2, which is writing the scripts.
Okay.
So we have a lot of conversations, a lot of creative, like talking through scenes and like ideas. And then I'm part of the creative team. So that's basically what I run. And it's more the visuals. Like what does the brand look like? What's the set's going to look like? What's the characters going to be?
How'd you learn all that, Nick?
Working with amazing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the first job you got in this business, like, did you get hired to run a camera or something? How'd you get?
Yeah, I started out first as a camera guy, bought a DSLR, like a digital camera before they were like just new to the thing. And I started working with John Chu, who now he did Crazy Rich Asians, and he was like an up and coming director. Okay. So I got to work with him, kind of see how his process was on like a lot of the Disney stuff we did. And then kind of fell into it where people were passing my name around. Like, this guy's hungry. He'll do anything. So he'll shoot it. He'll find you the location. He'll do like, cause I just loved all of it. Yeah. He'll even edit it. And so I was just like a one-stop shop out of my dad's garage. And
next to the washing machine.
I think our first big thing was O-Town, the boy band making the band. They were doing a comeback, and I'm related to one of the guys in the band, Jacob Underwood, and he was like, oh, my cousin can do our music video. And it was going to be on TRL, like this huge thing. So they hired me to like produce the whole thing. He's like, oh, Nick can film it. And then they called me. I was like, you guys, I can't film this. This is huge. I need to hire like a crew. So
I am next to a washing machine.
I'm like, you guys want something really big. Like, this is going to be on TV. Like, I can't do it by myself.
People are actually going to watch this.
Were you really nervous when you got that call?
I was so nervous. And I was like, I can do it. I was like, yeah, I can do this. No problem. So then I like called my buddy in LA. I'm like, who's a good director? I need to hire a director. I need to hire this. And I started like figuring it out. And I didn't know the names of everybody. And that was the first time someone called me a producer. And they're like, oh, you're producing it. I was like,
yes,
yeah, I am.
That's what I am.
That's what I'm doing.
Wow. He was very organic, very, I mean, he's very self-taught, just did it.
Yeah.
He's around people and learned it and just for years did it.
And his clothes always smell really nice.
Yes, always.
That's what you should have called your studio, is Washing Machine Studios.
Machine.
There you go.
What do you guys think's the most challenging part about what you both do?
Keeping I don't know, having fun.
Yeah.
We constantly tell ourselves, we're having fun. This is fun. Like people don't get to do this.
It requires extra time, like outside of work hours where we're at home and we find ourselves talking about things, and it's like stepping out of that because it can just, it's our own business. So not letting it take over your home life.
This is supporting your family.
Yeah, it's supporting our family, but just not, stepping out of work.
Our kids remind us.
Yeah. They'll be like, can we not talk about Gus at dinner? And we're like, oh yeah.
That's a good idea.
Just that part.
Do you guys though have that moment, like if you guys have done something together, and I'm just going to relate it to Steve and I. Steve and I we'll have a really good interview and podcast, and we walk down the back of this hallway and we high five, and we're just like on this high. You guys have that. Y'all have obviously a special bond, husband and wife, right? But where y'all can just look at each other and go, "That was good."
Oh yeah,
do you get that a lot?
Oh yeah, on set. When we're in the recording studio this week, so we have a lot of those where it's like, you nailed that.
Man,
that sounds so good.
Yeah, or when we'll get like the songs, our friend Taylor Parsley, he writes all the music for our show. He's local and dripping, incredible, talented guy. And we'll get a song from him and we'll hear it for the first time. And we're just like, oh, this is going to work.
This is going to be good.
This is going to be magic. So those kind of moments where you're like, oh, getting to do the creative stuff. And then on set, you watch something back on monitor and you're like, oh, that's like the money shot. Like that's it's gold.
And
so
it's fun. I mean, there was a scene we were shooting last time. I always talk about it because it's the funniest thing, where the puppeteers sit on the ground. She's standing next to them to see eye line with the puppets, and we're all on the ground. She didn't have shoes on because she doesn't like wearing shoes, and we were behind the countertop in her Lucy's kitchen, her character's kitchen, and we were sitting there with the puppets up. And her phone starts to ring down by me. She put it down by us at the bottom. So we're looking at the phone ringing. She's like doing her line. And then she lifts up her foot with her toe and she tries to turn her phone off while she's doing the line. And we actually ruined the shot because we started laughing. So
I'm like, I got this. I can touch this with my big toe. Yeah. We were actually building our house at the same time.
Shooting season 1
while we were shooting, and so I like had to talk to the tile person I think that morning. So like I left my phone. I was like, okay, I need to be available to her and like shoot the scene.
Wow,
it was too much.
Big Toe Productions.
Oh my gosh, I might have to start a side hustle.
That's right. When was the last time the two of you went somewhere together alone? No work, nothing. And if you haven't, maybe you need to go do this.
We do.
Ooh, when was that?
I just celebrated 30 years of marriage. Yeah, so you need to do this.
And we're normally doing it. Wimberley is where we had, because her parents live there, so we drop the kids off and we go to like Creek House or something.
We used to drop the kids sometimes off at Sunday school and then go eat at Olive Garden.
Oh, yeah.
We were so bad. We were like, say hi to Jesus. We're just need 30 minutes by ourselves.
I always joke about doing that.
It's the best.
I just drop them off and go.
It's important for you guys to do it.
I know.
Oh, it is.
The time you have with your kids will fly by, and one day they'll be all off in college.
And you'll be all alone with
him. And the two of you will be together in the house, and you'll go,
what do we do?
I don't know you anymore. So don't lose track of each other.
I know, that is so true.
Yeah. I want to ask you about social media, and you're doing this Gus Plus Us and all these other projects. Do you like social media, dislike it? And how do you effectively spread the word when you come up with a new show?
Oh yeah, social media is not our favorite.
It's the devil, isn't it?
It is. It's awful. We actually we know it's important. Our big thing
Vortex
was like
is right.
Yeah. Yeah, you get sucked right in.
You know it's important, but what?
We know it's important, so we kind of look at it as a community more than like anything. So right now with the show, Gus Plus Us, it's like we are doing, hey, we don't need to do a post every day because everyone's on this like, you got to have content. But we're all about meaningful content, so it's got to be meaningful what we're giving them. So
Amen. Authentic. Being authentic.
I'd
That's all
rather
I'm
do
about.
less posts and it be meaningful than a bunch of posts trying to just get a click.
And organic. Like if we have something cool going on, people will learn to trust us and be like, oh, I want to see what they posted, because it's always something cool because it's just authentic. It's like, this is what's really happening. So just finding like...
It's interesting that you say that because people that are posting all the time, they're trying to fight the algorithm. And you guys are like the exact opposite. You just want to put out good creative content that people want to watch or listen to.
Yeah. Our whole thing is, what are we giving them? What are we're tired of people telling you what to do. Like they're following us to give them something. We're entertaining. So it's a different way of thinking, but I think it's more important. Like I follow brands or people, and I love when they're posting something that I'm into, or that's why I follow them. Even newsletters is a big deal right now. It's like, if we're going to do a newsletter, it's got to have something in there that's meaningful. Because now you have Instagram, Facebook, your emails, Twitter. And then your Twitter, and then all that stuff. So it's like, how can you put nuggets in each one so there's a reason to follow each one? Otherwise, it just gets...
It's just so difficult, though, also to know what's true and what kind of line of BS you're being fed. You know, there's so many social media influencers out there nowadays. And, you know, if they're talking about a product or a place that they visited, it's like, before when social media first started, I was like, oh, that's cool. But now it's like, oh, well, they got paid to do that. Yeah. You know, this place sucks. You know, why did I listen to this
product,
person?
you know, that is terrible. Yeah.
It does create a lot of skepticism.
Trim Spa by Anna Nicole Smith. I was like, you were selling legal speed to people in the 80s. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Skeptical is right, Christina, because I find myself on social media just constantly, everything I see is like, oh, that can't be true. That can't be true. No, that's not right. You know, and then it just sucks your brain. It's not good.
And your time.
Yeah. Christina, you mentioned earlier on, even before you guys got married, it might have been you, Nick, but you guys wanted to homeschool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that idea come about, and why did you decide to homeschool your kids?
Well, I actually went to public school my whole life. And it didn't really fit for the way I learned. It was a struggle. I did go to a fine arts for elementary school, which was really great, getting to do the arts. And then Nick went to private school, but he's an out-of-the-box learner, very hands-on, very visual. And I'm very visual.
Dyslexic.
Yes.
Me too.
Yes. So I just knew before we had kids, and he did too, or like we just knew we wanted to be with our kids. We wanted to be the biggest influence in their lives. We wanted to be able to help them learn at however it is they learn at their own pace. Just be different, I guess, and be able to like share the Bible with them, and put your morals.
Right. The whole thing with us was like, we want to raise them up to have morals and values, responsibility, and self-control, and to be around kids that aren't being raised in the same. They're around the opposite from our household. And what was really neat when we talked about it was like, we can teach them at their pace. So the school system's not bad, but it is for one type of learning child.
That's right.
And I wasn't that kid, and she wasn't either. No. And I was like, well, homeschool helps us adjust. Like Cruz learns differently than Blue, so we can adjust on different curriculum, what works for them.
Right.
And they're advancing now. So Blue's an amazing reader. I was never a reader. I'm still not. But now our daughter that we thought wasn't going to be a reader is like a bookworm. Yeah. So it's amazing. It was the way Christina adjusted to her on how to learn to read.
Well, it's the way that you said too, is that there's so many resources and programs out now. You're not just a mom in the middle of an homeschool island, and it's just you and your kids. It's kind of that's the misconception of the way it used to be. It's like, oh, you've isolated these children. They're going to have zero social skills. And it's like,
which is crap.
It's complete crap.
If COVID taught us anything, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's take what was the worst part of COVID and the distance learning, and then let's adapt it to how our kids learn.
Right.
Well, tell us about the homesteading thing.
The homesteading. I was reading a little bit about it, and we've had several clients most recently that have bought.
It's funny because the two of you are very close to a couple of people that we know that have moved from out of state to here, and they're doing almost the exact same thing at home. I mean, the homesteading, they have a couple goats and some chickens, and, and eat farm fresh eggs and all that kind of stuff. So it's sort of like van life was real popular or whatever 5 years ago, and now it's like this new homesteading thing is real popular. And I get it. I see the value in it.
Yep.
So
soon we'll be riding in buggies with horses again.
Yeah, I was like, are you Amish? Is that?
Oh man, I do admire the Amish. I mean, they make great furniture.
Are you making your own clothes? Okay,
I would love to. I love sewing. Actually, I've made quilts.
No, I won't let her do that.
I don't have time yet right now, but no, we have 15 chickens, and so we eat eggs every day.
That's awesome.
We had them for dinner last night. Like if I don't have
you had the chickens for dinner.
We would do that too.
No, we have them all named, so I don't know. That would be extreme for us. But we also just got 3 goats, and the plan is to breed the oldest one in the fall, so we'll have milk. I'll be able to milk them every morning, and we'll have fresh milk.
Oh, because in your free time, you'll be able to go milk.
Yeah, well, supposedly it only takes like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Cruz already said he'd be milking Honey, our goat.
Just to go squirt a little bit of my coffee in the morning.
Yeah. It's part of their schooling.
That sounds horrifying. I dare you. I want that on video.
Oh,
Take
so
your coffee
good.
cup, squirt.
I think I am.
You might.
You get 20 million views.
You're supposed to strain it first, but
Homesteading on a whim.
it's fun though. I mean, it's so good for the kids. They're like wrangling chickens, and now the goats are so entertaining. They're just like the sweetest animals.
Can you get them to faint?
No,
Or is that
I
just-
looked
no?
at those.
I think that's a certain type,
it's a
right?
certain breed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We looked at one. It would be fun.
Christina, have you not ever seen that?
I've seen it in the videos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. We had a client that had some out of his ranch, and you think they just do it on a whim. You got to scare them the right way, but when they do it is hilarious.
Oh, man.
I've seen it in a while.
I often like to jump out of places and scare Steve.
Yeah, I fall on the floor.
I'm worst. Like, stop doing that.
What kind of family goals besides homeschooling do you guys have? Like what? Most families sit down and go, hey, 5 years we want to be here. 10 years we want to be here. What kind of goals do you guys have for your family?
5 years we talk about having more land. We always think about living in the same area, but like more land, more expansion, especially on the homestead stuff.
Yeah,
talk about gardens and the kids doing that stuff. Our kids ride dirt bikes, so it's like, man, we have a little ranch in Marble Falls that my family owns. We'll take them out there, but we're always like, I want them to be able to go out the door and ride or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's a dream.
Yeah,
we
that's
just
one of
love
our,
land. It's so beautiful, and more animals.
I was talking to Steve. This was a couple episodes ago, and he looked at me like I was crazy about grounding. And I am a firm believer in it. When he was mentioning that you're barefoot all the time, if I could be barefoot or in flip flops, but I'm very clumsy.
Is that why you did it, Christina? Is because you believe in being in contact with the earth?
So I like. I got into minimalist footwear or like barefoot shoes, but I also like them to be stylish. But there's so many good shoes nowadays.
Yeah.
See, Steve?
Summer's the easiest because I do go barefoot all day. But like there's cute sandals, and I have some minimalist footwear for the show when I have to wear them.
Lucy
They're white sneakers, and you wouldn't even know like when you watch it. They're actually like they're just really flexible.
Really?
I feel like I'm wearing like ballet shoes or something because they're so light. There's no weight, and I have enough room for all my toes.
Yeah, see, in your toes, we call it blinking. You can blink your toes.
You can. That is true. You can blink your toes. Yeah.
So Nick, I got a question for you. Does Christina dress you, or do you have? Because you have.
Is this
pretty
denim?
stylish
Oh no,
style.
denim
It's
ensemble
more like
you?
he dresses me.
Is that right?
Because
you guys
I don't
are both
always
very
care.
stylish.
I'm pretty picky.
You have,
he's
you
very
have like your
picky.
uniform, because I've seen you a couple times and I've looked on. You have what's comfortable for you.
He does.
I'm struggling to find that, so that's why I'm asking.
Well, it's only because I bully him. I'm a bully.
So this morning when I picked out what I'm wearing, which is it's nothing fancy, I stood in my closet going, "What will Michelle not give me crap about?"
I bully him.
But I need to find my uniform. How did you come up with? You're always wearing something cool.
I've always got boots on and jeans. And
He found his look that he likes. He's
I'm
like
just
the
like-
boots. These jeans are just like H&M jeans. I'll do a breakdown.
Come on. Nobody's getting paid for this.
The shirt. This is a really cool shirt because
It's very old.
it's naturally been distressed. Like he didn't buy it with the holes.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
could
I
just
wear
I
it a
sell
lot.
it now.
You
Yeah,
could sell it now, but he's got these cool holes in the elbows. And then this shirt is a
Imogene and Willie.
Imogene and Willie shirt, but he just a t-shirt, it's like a layer, you know, with the denim.
I know.
This is
And then a hat.
exactly what I've been saying.
Like simple.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I always tell people you can wear the same look every day. You don't have to change. And people are like,
It's
well,
actually
you have
nice.
like, I don't know.
Unless you hang out with Michelle. Michelle will call you out on it. Unless your shirt is exactly the same shirt every Tuesday.
switch your shirt out.
I'd wear a different shirt. They're all shades of blue or gray,
Every
but there's a
Tuesday.
You
different
found your color.
Yeah.
I told Steve I would like for him to start wearing some graphic T-shirts. I think, but he's like, but I'm
So
old. He thinks he's
so. I
old.
ordered some, and I guarantee you, she will give me crap.
Oh, I
when
am.
wear the first one.
Part of my love language is bullying.
Yeah.
So-
Teasing. Yeah. Nick's
yeah,
good at
teasing's
teasing.
good.
It
I
means
like
he
it.
likes
See,
you.
teasing. Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm quiet, I don't like you. So there you go.
If the average person here in Dripping Springs wanted to do a project with you guys, you know, somebody comes up with a good concept or something, and would they send you a demo tape, or how do they get in contact
A
with you
demo
guys?
tape? Did you just?
I didn't mean tape. I meant you said demo
Yeah,
earlier.
like
I said demo tape. But
Yeah.
How would somebody get in contact with you?
A lot of companies reach out just to talk about a commercial idea. They'll reach out like, here's our brand. We're looking to make a commercial, something like that. So we do a lot of that.
On your website?
On our website, yeah. So you can do it at team@casterstudios.com and reach out. I mean, we're a small team. There's only 6 of us in the office, but yeah, that's usually the process.
I have a podcasting docuseries I've been recording secretly.
Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
called Shit Steve Says.
Oh, I was going to say shit Michelle says. Jeez.
I think it'd be a hit.
That'd be good.
Do you get a lot of people that I opened up that can, but do you get a lot of people that reach out to you and say, "Oh, I got this great idea," and you go,
yeah.
that's probably not a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
How do
Most
you handle
people,
those?
Goes with it.
I just kind of like, oh, great. Go for it.
Yeah.
Or
seems great.
they'll say, would you do it? And I go, well, here's the price. And then they go, oh, crap. Never mind. I'm like, yeah, it's not cheap. What we do is not cheap as a company. We have like a creative quality standard with what we do. It's not that lower quality is bad. It's just we don't do it as a company. We've gotten to that point where we're like, well, this is where the budgets start because of the crew and the I don't know how big it is.
Is that what sets you apart from other studios? Like if there's one unique thing about Caster Studios, what do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's the quality and the integrity that we try to apply to everything. So people will be like, I want a video like that you did last time. Well, that was a big video, but visually you're like, oh, it's a guy in a camera. It's like, well, no, it's bigger than that. It's lights. It's all, so it's like the learning curve of YouTube versus what we do is a little different.
Yeah.
Quality wise, but it's not a bad thing. So what we try to do is we have a roster of people that we recommend. So if we're like, oh, that's great, you should talk to this guy because he will do that for that, run and gun guy, that will do. That's what I used to be, a run and gun guy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So that I get it. That's the process. So yeah, that just learning how to.
It must be pretty freeing to pick and choose what you want to work on.
Yeah.
A lot of people in their careers, they have to do everything that comes their way, but you guys get to pick and choose the ones that you believe in, that you feel good about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a blessing. It's been a neat process, but, or I like everything. I care too much. So like, if it is a project, I'm like, I love this, but if I do it, none of this is getting done.
Yeah.
And that I have to like be honest with myself now because I love, I love all of it. Like I love film. Like it's great.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's been really fun. I talked to you, Nick, before, but Christina, first time I met you, you guys are great additions to Dripping Springs.
Oh,
I'm
you.
really
Thank
glad
you.
you moved here. You're fantastic people.
Well, absolutely.
Really
And,
enjoyed
just
getting to
like
meet
in
you,
a
get to know you.
soundbite kind of world and a sound, like a little viral clip, it's nice to meet some authentic people that are in the business, and it doesn't make it seem like the whole world's going to.
You guys haven't been
crap.
tainted by that world. Yeah.
No, we've been far away from it.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Dripping Springs.
you.
We are very happy, like what Steve said, and just blessed to have you guys part of our community, and love to see you kind of continue and bring more cool people here to the town that we like. If you can just run them through me first. I am
gotta get
the
a
mayor
little
of
check
Dripping
from
Springs.
Michelle.
Yeah. I'm not official mayor of Dripping Springs.
The door
so-
guard.
I love it.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
Thank
us
you
too.
for having
This
us.
is so cool.
Our
Yeah, thanks
pleasure.
for coming on our little podcast.
Yeah, it's been fun.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallet Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at malletintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.